All right. Welcome, everybody, to the first Coach Larry's podcast. We went from stories from the sidelines. We're doing Larry's podcast now. And to kick things off right, we got my man, Coach Nate Longbine, as our first guest. Coach, how we doing today?
Fantastic. What's up, my guy? Good to see you.
I was going to say, we saw each other, was it last week, 2 weeks ago with the professional development,
Yeah.
where we learned all fun games about pickleball and cornhole and, stuff the phys ed teachers, need to know.
Bro, just being the best that we can be at our job. Why not? That's what coaches do.
Listen, I got to give my boy, though, Nolan DeJesus, a little shout out here with the CPR stuff, the lifeguarding stuff. Dude, they rock that. Dude, they rock that. It was good stuff. Even there were a couple teachers that would come like, man, I've been doing this research for 10, 15, 20 years and never heard that or never knew that. Him and August, forgive me, I don't know August's last name, but dude, they rocked it. They killed it. So I hope they're doing our shirts for a while, because as well as I do, some of those CPR shirts, the lifeguarding research, man, they can be rough.
Yeah, they take forever, but it's important information they get. But it's wild how fun those two do make it. I remember us doing it last year, and how much information seems similar, but now there's new names, new tags, different things like that.
Yeah, and they keep us up to date with everything. And man, I'm just glad we weren't in the pool, because last year,
always cold in the pool, but it's good for you, right? Huh?
It's good for you, but man, when you get old, you get old.
Even me, right? Being around 30s, in my 30s, shoulders are cricking, 34, all that good stuff. It's crazy getting up.
You have no idea. I'd kill to be in my 30s right now. I'm 44. Dude, I know I look like I'm 94, but man, it's just, dude, you're getting old. The other day, I swear, I hurt myself getting out of bed. Like, just getting out of bed, I stepped a little too fast. I'm like, ooh, that hip, that's the old soccer injury that, everything just hurts.
Or when that pain shoots from right through your leg all the way up to your spine, it's the best.
I was saying, do you ever have that pain where it just takes you back to when you got it? For me, it's always my right knee. Anytime it's acting up, I'll go back to when I heard it during soccer, but man, I really shouldn't have done that slide tackle, and that just went the wrong way. Do you ever just have that certain injury that just brings back those memories?
Actually, when I was in 8th grade, I broke my tib and fib in half when I was playing, and for the following year, the next 3 years, I would wear even a shin guard playing football, and a little knock or anything would send just a wave of emotions through the bone, because it heals obviously, but it takes a real long time, man. I mean, weight bearing, all that stuff. I was in a cast up to my hip for 3-4 months almost, something crazy. It was wild.
Wow.
I was immobilized. I didn't have surgery. It was back when I was 12 years old, maybe.
Do you remember the play that it happened?
Yeah, it's actually funny. We were playing Kenmore in East Aurora. I was playing, and I was running down the field kind of sideways. The guy was coming, and one of my co-players, Luke Tasker, shout out to him, Steve Tasker's kid. We grew up playing together. Grabbed onto his hips and swung around, and my leg was planted and just snapped him right in half. So yeah, I definitely have the recurring leg things for sure.
That's the worst, though, when you know it right away. Sometimes you'll get injured and you're like, maybe, but then there's times where you hurt, but yep, it's my hip. Yep, it's my ankle. Yep, I broke that.
It's so wild, because when it happened, I heard a crunch. You fall down, and then apparently, I don't kind of remember this, but I tried to stand up, and my bottom half of my leg was laying on the floor. I wish there was a tape on it, just because that would probably be my $1 million or million view hit. You know what I'm saying?
That's great when it was that bad where you want to see it on YouTube so you could laugh.
I think of Paul George's leg when he broke it. That was probably,
yeah.
And, I'm a 12-year-old at that time, so you feel bad for a kid when it happens. Luckily, it was me.
Oh, man, some of those hits, it's brutal. And some of the stuff, I don't know about it. Maybe this makes me sound even older, but man, back in our day, don't you just remember playing through everything? You had to be you had to be really in pain or something was broken before they take you out. Nowadays, it seems like, you get a sprained pinky and you're out for 6 weeks.
Well, the craziest part about that too is back then, you could argue that there was more kids in sports, right? So you had more kids to even put in the game but you didn't want to. Back then, winning was so important almost to some of these programs where you needed your horse, your star horse in the race. Even though, I mean, is the fall off really that much when you had so many more kids to pick from? For example, football having a roster of 75 kids versus 22. I mean, so what if your all star gets hurt? I mean, someone can run the football or whatever. Obviously, quarterback, I guess, one argument, but overall, it's a crazy thing. So,
For
like,
sure. And I think it was what, 2 years ago, 3 years, no, more than that, 5-6 years ago, where Kenmore East had to forfeit the first 4 games of the season because they didn't have enough bodies.
Yeah.
They didn't have enough bodies. I think they only had 16, 17 players to start the season, so they had to go out and recruit a couple more bodies.
Well, a lot of people are merging now because the big issue with insurance, that's the big problem, is how much it costs for insurance for schools to carry
Yeah.
football. Like
Yeah,
that's
true.
what a lot of people don't talk about, is like literally there's like just the business side of it. I mean, how are you going to afford it? I mean, so many people come back and end up suing the school for their ACL. They felt they weren't, Now, some of them justly so might not be, whatever. I'm no lawyer. But dang, I mean, and then when you only got how many kids coming out for the team, how are you going to push for more money or, go to the AD and ask for this? We need new jerseys. It's like, you haven't won a game, or we didn't play 5 games because you didn't have a roster.
Especially with pads and like shoulder pads, helmets, isn't it like everything has to be recertified? What, like every year, every other year? I mean, it's crazy.
Bro, helmets are like every year. They literally send them out. They get re-stickered by Rydell.
Yeah,
I'm almost sure it's every year. It's wild.
and you got to pay a lot for that re-stickering.
Oh, sure, because they got to put it through. I mean, whatever those machines cost, let's argue, right? To figure out how much your brain rattles. It costs
Yeah.
a few bucks to turn on. So
Listen, there ain't much more rattling up here, so it's all rattled out.
did you have a lot of concussions playing? I know it's soccer. That's like the second most concussions, isn't it?
I was actually going to bring this up. Did I have concussions? I did. Did I? I think I had
Did you
two.
expose it?
I think I actually had two diagnosed. One for sure, maybe two. Did I have some that were undiagnosed? Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
you're talking, I played, high school 94 to 98. Little league soccer in the late 80s, early 90s. They weren't looking for that stuff. Coaches weren't looking for that stuff. The concussion tests back in those days, you'd stand up, your coach would look at you. Can you walk? Can you see me? It was usually, yeah, coach, I'm good. Yeah, coach. And you'd go back in. I mean,
what would happen
thinking,
if you would say like, "No, I'm not good," or "Boo, something's wrong"? Boom, like what would really happen back then? Because again, it's different. I mean, I know. I'm just curious what would happen from your perspective.
I mean, this is just soccer. Even football, basketball, like big time sports back in the day. Not that soccer isn't. Whatever. I'll stick up for my sport. You go on the bench and you don't come back. I mean, it's terrible. But there's be times, especially if it was a big game, a big moment, and you're up one, down one, and you can't go off the field because you were hurt or you got your bell rung or whatever. You were perceived by your coaches, you were perceived by your teammates as being soft, as being weak, as you're not a team player. You don't care about winning. So, I mean, I definitely saw a lot of athletes that just, hey, listen, I got to go back out there, or forget losing the game. I'm going to lose my rep. I'm going to be perceived as a wimp.
Yeah.
And it's terrible to think. Like I said, I know one or two for sure. I'm sure I probably had at least another two, maybe three from taking a header. I know one guy in indoor. Holy cow. I went up for a header. I'm a small guy. This guy was about 6'2", 6'3". He decided to kick with his foot, and my forehead ran right into his foot, and I went down. And it was one of those things. It was indoor soccer. I mean, I knew I got my bell rung. I knew I was, not with it. I played it off. I went to the bench. I got some water. No, I just need a minute. And within a minute, 2 minutes, I was back in the game.
No shit.
And again, I definitely shouldn't have been playing.
Right.
And now, I mean, that's the biggest thing now as a coach. The biggest thing that I've got with some of my kids is, when the other coach knows, everybody in the stadium knows that kid just got their bell rung. Now, granted, we've got great trainers up and down on the sidelines that catch it or will see it a lot of times, even with you. But you're the one as a coach saying, no, you are not going back in. I get it. We need you. You're right. You're a big player for this team, but you're not going back in. I don't care if we're up 5-0. I don't care if we're down 1-0, whatever. If it's tied 0-0 and it's a state championship game, unless you are cleared by our trainer, you are not going back in.
Well, it's wild because look what happened with Tua, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about missing a beat or someone not being on the same line of communication. That you could argue that's the that is the pinnacle. So, thank you.
You gotta love it.
And so, what is it? Totally lost my train of thought.
About Tua getting his bell rung.
Oh, that's the pinnacle of freaking everything. You got the trainers, you got the best coaches, so you say. Everyone's this, everyone's that. They missed it. I wouldn't let that kid play the rest of the year. That's crazy.
Well, did they miss it, really? Did they miss it? Or did they just turn the other way? No. You're fine, dude. Go back in.
No,
we need you. You're making millions of dollars. We need you. Go back in.
All the time. And then you get, is it more about the business or is it about the player's health? And now look at college.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're getting paid millions of dollars, are you going to really go your all out knowing that you're probably a first or fifth round guy? Because you look at, you're looking at the board. It's a big, let's say it's a lineman year. You know you're better than 90% of those guys. Or, you're saying, maybe Cruz. Why not? You're getting paid billions of dollars. Millions.
But not only that, dude, you're making millions of dollars while you're in college.
Bro.
Like, you know how much these kids are getting, like, NIL deals for, like, 500,000, 600,000, 1.5 million, 2 million. And not only that, some of them are making like $1 million, staying a season, and then bouncing to another school that's going to give them $1.5 million or whatever.
They get paid, or sometimes they don't even play.
No.
I've seen where kids don't play. It like didn't earn a starting spot pretty much because they were 5-star, got paid $1 million to just go to another school because it's a 5-star. And the coach will then say, well, look how many 5-stars are. Great. Think about what did you eat in college?
Dude, let me tell you something. Sophomore year, I literally, for the last 2 weeks of school, had to eat ramen noodles for breakfast, lunch, and dinner because, like, that was all I could afford. It was ridiculous.
Ramen, freaking boiled eggs. That was it. Dude, whatever had most like just fuel and like bang $3. And then when you're at the dining hall, you ate it till it was empty pretty much, Dude,
you ate until it was empty, and then you filled up whatever pockets you had or bags you had, and that was your dessert for when you got home. I mean, it was...
Bro, that I couldn't imagine having hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank and like going to school. I mean, imagine, just crazy.
Dude, I would have...
the coaches. Wow.
In college, I would have killed for hundreds of dollars in the bank. Forget hundreds of thousands. Give me hundreds.
Yeah. Well, that was when you had, what was it? Yeah, it's just crazy, dude.
Now, wasn't planning on talking to this, but it's a good way to go into. What do you think is hurting college sports more, NIL deals or the transfer portal? Because like you said, some of these kids, by the time they graduate, they're on 2, 3. Some of them are on like 4 schools.
Who was it just got drafted? That quarterback for the Browns.
Shedeur Sanders.
Gabriel. No, Dillon Gabriel.
Dillon Gabriel. Yeah, Gabriel played for what, 3 colleges?
Bo Nix, 6-7 years. Crazy. And that was before it was cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous.
That was like a legal thing he could do.
And that's what I mean. I could see kids, all right, fine. You're especially college football players, but college athletes, all right, fine. The colleges, the universities are making millions and billions off of your name. All right, I guess you can argue that you deserve a little bit of a cut. But man, when you're getting NIL deals for $1 million, $1.5 million, there needs to be some sort of commitment. It should be like, fine, we'll give you $1.5 million, but you're staying here for all 4 years. You're not transferring, or fine, at the bare minimum, one transfer. I get it. Sometimes you get to that school, even if you visited it like 3, 4, 5 times. Sometimes you get to a college, it's just not for you. You get one transfer. None of this like, oh, I can't make a starting spot. I'm going to go to a lesser school, or I'm only the 3rd quarterback. I really want to. Dude, if you can't win a starting job at the school that you were recruited for, work harder. End of it. Work harder.
Yeah. It's so hard because, like, I remember, like, everyone bitching, oh, the coach hates me, this, that, and the third. There's definitely cases of it. That's why I think there is merit for a transfer. But the problem is when you're talking money now, you're not just talking like your emotional entanglement or whatever. Bro, now it's dollars and bills. The feelings go out the window. A big problem with, you could argue, maybe the new people coming up is they don't see the correlation of that, right?
Oh, very true. They just see the cash. They see
I
the
think so.
cash.
And they're stars. You're making my name. There's a lot to it. There's weight in their argument, but
Yeah.
definitely they get paid. I think it's cool. Transferring's ridiculous. The volume that it is. But if you fix
These
that, bro, college sports first loan have better traditions. That's what makes sports traditions. You know what I mean? Everyone can hate the Yankees, but guess what, man? Yankees sell jerseys. Your grandpa loved the Yankees. His grandson, his son will like the Yankees. That's like, you know what I mean? It's almost like Roman times. Like literally, it's like, oh, I just pay homage to Caesar. That's what I do. Or Genghis Khan just did it for centuries. My parents were ran by him. I'm ran by him. Boom. So to like break that mold, you got to be something special. That's why like the Buffalo Bills, baby.
In fact, let's transition. That's a great transition. Let's talk about Bills. Draft just wrapped up about a month ago, a month or so ago. They did some OTAs. In fact, I think today was they returned for phase 2, phase 3, whatever OTAs they're on now. Yeah,
Right.
dude, what are your thoughts? Like, first of all, what are your thoughts on their offseason? Like off-season draft, do you think they addressed stuff? Do you think they missed stuff? Like, what are your thoughts?
First off, I think Coleman's way better than people give him credit for. He's going to emerge. If you had questions with that, you addressed it with getting Palmer and the receiver Elijah Moore. I mean, he had 17,000 quarterbacks and had one of the third, 10th highest reception ratings. So
Even
like
last year, he had what, 60? Last year, he had what, 60 receptions, 65 receptions, something with 4 different quarterbacks?
That's an incredible stat that you love because you know Josh Allen should be there all the time, right? So that's sick.
100%.
And then we had issues with D line, so they addressed it in free agency. Of course, they all got popped, but when you see what we did in the draft, it really doesn't matter because now rookies get to play against NFL talent, which is something we've seen benefit of with like Benford and other players like that. I mean, because we don't play rookies a lot. It's like a
No.
Bean or it's a McDermott or Bean deal. I don't know who decides that, probably McDermott. But it seems we don't play rookies a lot. Now it seems like they force our hand, which I'm cool with because the guys we got, dude, especially the defensive front, are exactly my type of people.
Dude, I love what they did with defensive line. I think that Landon Jackson, I think that dude is going to be he was the pickup in the second round or third round, defensive end.
Round, yeah.
Dude is going to be a monster. I agree. I think this year,
Jason Taylor.
yeah, and I agree. I think they're going to be forced to use some of these young guys just because these young guys are going to win that spot. Like I really love what they did with that position with the draft in there. I love what they did with the receiving crew. I also love that they didn't panic. I mean, they drafted a guy in the 7th round. They didn't panic. They didn't go out. It wasn't particularly a deep receiving core anyways, or a receiving draft. So I like that they didn't panic and overdraft a guy in the 2nd round, 3rd round. They waited. They knew. I mean, let's be honest. We lost last year because of our defense.
Right.
We
so it's the draft, right?
Yeah.
Boom,
And Kansas City averaged what, 19 points a game coming into that AFC Championship, and they ran up how much on us? I mean, we
I
couldn't
got
stop
a fun
them.
question. Could you name me, besides last year with Philly, a team that won with like a number one highly paid receiver, like a Super Bowl?
No.
There's like none. If there is, like very few. And like to me, that answers everything. Like it takes a whole chessboard, right? You need pawns, you need bishops, you need knights, you need rooks. Gotta have a queen, Josh Allen. You know what I mean? Who can do whatever you want. But like you can't have 17 queens on a map because then they kind of bump into each other and it doesn't work right.
Yeah. I mean, look at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a great example. How many weapons does Cincinnati have on offense? You've got Chase, you've got Higgins, you've got Mixon, you've got the quarterback in Joe Burrow who was throwing bombs all over the field. They had an absolute garbage of a defense and they couldn't even make the playoffs. I mean, it was terrible.
And they're not paying that Hendrickson right now, so they're in trouble.
And if he doesn't play, if he sits out, mark my words, Cincinnati isn't going to sniff the playoffs again this year.
No, I wouldn't think so. But that offense,
it's potent.
But I think the best thing they did defensively was the kid from South Carolina is a really good player. I think he's someone you add like 15 pounds on, and he doesn't really change as an athlete. He looks great. And then
the
that
D tackle up the middle.
Yeah, I think he's great. And then the dude from Kentucky,
Harrison.
bro.
Maxwell Harrison. He is fast.
He's fantastic. If you're playing corner and you're chasing like 90% of the time in the field, you might as well be the fastest guy in the field to make up ground. So, like,
100%.
from a scheme standpoint, it's something we haven't had in a very long time. I think it's genius. Like, then you go get his friend from Kentucky as well, that defensive tackle. And you know what? It reminds me a lot of like Ted Washington or Sam Adams. You just need someone that's different, like a giant person. That stuff
100%.
to me it matters. I mean, you can be as athletic as Aaron Donald, but they don't make many Aaron Donalds, right? But you know, there's a bunch of guys that are middle of the road that did fantastic jobs for a bunch of years. I mean, look at Phillips, the protection we get out of that guy, and he's how old?
Yeah.
So we can turn that around, bro. We're in trouble.
No, I think there a lot of times, like you said, you can overlook, especially in the game nowadays, you can overlook defenses. But dude, they say defense wins championships for a reason, because
100%.
defense wins championships. And for the last 2 years, 3 years, last year in particular, it has not been up to snuff. Granted, we've had some big injuries. I think even going back, Von Miller's first injury, if he doesn't have that knee injury, who is it? Trey White doesn't go have that injury the same year. Dude, I think that could have been our year, but you know, it is what it is. Injuries are always part of the game. That's another reason I'm glad they stacked on the defense, because I think we are deep in our wide receiver room.
When's the last time you said we had depth on defense where you kind of, now again, a lot of these guys are rookies. We'll see how they play. But when's the last time you said you were confident in having someone go down and go, oh, it's not, Elam, for example. You know what I'm saying? Quite a big difference, dude.
Dude, he's been talking a little bit of trash about the Bills since he's been in Dallas. Do you see some of that stuff?
No, enjoy your time in Dallas, bro. We'll see you around. We'll be in the playoffs. Enjoy the Heat.
Dude, I wanted him to work out so badly, but
not me.
He couldn't even get on the field.
Nah, bro. There's a reason for that. There's something going on. You don't know. Nobody knows. I don't even know. But boy, I'm telling you, something was going on, because something's wrong. Maybe you don't want to be here. I don't know. Either way, he's gone. Bye-bye.
You don't want to be here? There's the door. There's the door.
Yeah, I think it's just wild, dude. But no, overall, the draft, man, I think is fantastic. The direction they're going. I mean, they already got James Cook locked in. Like, he's got to play. If he doesn't, guess what? Ty Johnson and Ray Davis or whatever. I'm good with that, because guess what? Josh Allen's still there. So, like, it equals out.
Listen, I like what James Cook did last year. I like him as a player.
It's fantastic.
But at the same point, Josh Allen won his games.
Is he $12 million?
No. And that's just it. If we took out James Cook last year and replaced him with a rotation of Ty Johnson and Ray Davis, are we losing much of anything, if anything, on the offense?
Yeah, I think it's interesting, man. A lot of these people, you see some of the runs. He had some fantastic runs. He's a great running back. A lot of that is also, could he make a bad team a playoff team? Like, let's say Barkley, for example, right? That guy was on the Giants. They were half contenders, and like he still was rushing for all those yards. They had no quarterback. He goes to Philly, it just amplifies the offense, and he still balls out. Do you see that with James Cook? Did James Cook invent a move in 2025? No. So you don't pay him like inventing move money. Like, he didn't hop over someone backwards. Get out of here.
There's only 2 running backs, in my opinion, that are worth the money or were worth the money last year. Barkley, 100%. I thought he was a huge reason, maybe the reason why Philadelphia won the Super Bowl. And Derrick Henry. I think Derrick Henry with the Ravens, King Henry. Now, King Henry's 32, 33. He's getting up there. So I don't know how much longer, although everybody's been saying how much longer can he do it for a couple of years now, and he's still doing it. But if King Henry,
right? He's got how many carries a year? He's 6'4".
Dude, he is ridiculous. But if he's not on the Ravens, I don't even know if they're a playoff team. I don't know if they're a playoff team. I think he allowed Jackson to do what he did a lot better. He allowed those receivers time to get open. He gave defenses something else to game plan for.
Isn't it something? It's the whole game, right? That's why. But now you were trying to compete against Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes, and then all of a sudden Philly comes out and has basically the Georgia Bulldog defense and 2 Iowa corners, and they're better. It's insane. It's whatever they're doing, recreate that stuff, dude.
And that's what I'm hoping we did with this draft. I mean,
it feels that way, right? We'll see. We need to see some shoulders on and some people play.
Absolutely.
But On paper,
like
it
you said,
looks cool.
hey, on paper it looks great. I love it, but like they said, it usually takes about 2 or 3 years to really see how good your draft class is. Is it naive to think that, dude, every one of their picks is going to be a Pro Bowler, every one of their picks
So
is going to
stupid.
be like
I get that.
LT? I mean, it's ridiculous. But you know what? If they can play their part, if they can make contributions, and if they can help even on a rotational basis, let's go.
Absolutely. And the cool thing is, like, sometimes, you listen to radio, WGR, all that good stuff, and people will complain. They'll be like, oh, being this, being that, McDermott this, whatever. Don't forget, like, we have the most wins in the NFL in the past 10 years or something crazy like that. Like, bro,
Yeah,
enjoy the ride and shut up. There's some things they miss on, but guess what? One team wins the Super Bowl every year. Like, there's
true.
31 losers. Like, we're one of them. So are the other guys. Like, chill out.
Listen, I really hope McDermott is the guy to do it. I'm beginning to lose a little faith in him. I'm not gonna lie, just
Yeah,
because
sure.
he's made some bonehead decisions in those playoff games.
Yeah, we hate
He's
to
gotten
say
better. He's gotten better. I still, man, there was absolutely no excuse for that 13 seconds hold debacle. I'm sorry. I played enough Madden to know that I could have like coached the last 13 seconds correctly on that one. Come on, but
bro, it's a tough one.
dude, I now on the other side, I absolutely think he was the right guy to end the drought. He was the right guy to bring the
That's the other
culture.
stuff.
He was the right guy to turn this franchise back around.
And you
Is
could argue those teams though they weren't fully McDermott, right? It almost took, I hate to say like Diggs leaving, but that almost was like the wash of the old era of like Rex Ryan and like Flash.
well
Once Josh
now
Allen, I
McDermott
know it
and
wasn't
Bean
with Rex, but
brought in Diggs. You can't give
no,
him a
I
pass
know
on
they
that.
did, but like I just feel like once he went sour and like wasn't like getting all his targets, getting the fame, and being the team guy, it seems like these guys are gonna be. Everybody's kind of like about it, but that's like also like a fandom in me talking. I
True.
have no basis on it. I just like the guys that Jackson from Arizona or Arkansas that we got. Don't tell me he's not gonna just put his hard hat on and go to work every day. The
Yeah,
guy they brought in from LA, same conversation. That kid Maxwell Harrison, right? He literally shook everybody's hand when they went to get
dude, that was
greeted at the
cool.
draft.
That
So,
was
like, you
cool.
know what I mean? Those little things, if you're talking culture and identity, just like Ray Lewis was with, oh my God, what was his thing? Slipping on his name. Who's the coach for
Ed
Ray
Reed,
Lewis? But who's the coach?
coach
With
Billick,
Ray?
Brian Billick.
Yeah, bro, fought on identity. Rex Ryan was the defensive coordinator. That was their mojo. Now I kind of see that this year, a little more so than most. Now, again, it's because I absolutely love the draft. So, like,
Yeah,
I'm way biased. Like, I wouldn't have did it any other way. That's perfect for me. We already picked
no,
corners better in the 7th round anyway. So I'd rather
100%.
do that. You know what I mean?
Hey, give me another Christian Benford. I don't care where you find him. Do draft him in draft undrafted free agent. I don't care. Just
If
get
you give
more of
me
those
dog,
players out
it's
there.
over. So
Absolutely. And that's what I think. I think they got guys that want to be here, are ready to work and excited to play. Speaking of guys who want to be on teams and who are excited and who still want to play, does Aaron Rodgers come back?
I thought he signed with the Steelers or his
Did he
boy.
officially sign?
I
I
don't know.
know it's been back and forth. He might sign, he might not sign. He's waiting till
Well,
OTAs
guys
finish.
didn't go anywhere anyway. So for me, it's kind of a wash because he's crazy. He's a good football player, but Zach Wilson had more wins than him when his good year when he was healthy versus the year he got hurt. It's crazy.
Dude, he
And that was a sick
was
year. Don't tell me you don't think you could have played quarterback with the Jets and won a few games.
he was a train wreck when he went to New York.
What's worse, him or Deshaun Watson in like a deal perspective? You know what I mean? At least
Oh,
Deshaun played a few games, but he
I
took
was gonna say, honestly, he's worse. He's worse. He was worse at the Jets than Deshaun was with Cleveland. And there was so much hype. One, I'm gonna call him out, Jonathan Rice, a guy who I worked summer school with.
Oh yeah,
He's
he's a great guy.
a big Jets fan, and dude, I
Silly.
gave him so much. He came into that first season with Rodgers. We got Rodgers. We're gonna win. The AFC East is ours. The AFC is ours. Like Rodgers is gonna take us to the promised land. That first game, 4 plays in, 8 plays in, whatever it was, and he went down. It's terrible to say that you laugh when somebody gets hurt,
Oh, yeah.
but man, I had a good chuckle. I feel terrible saying that,
It was almost like it was a movie, right? It's
but
kind of
it
insane.
was all that hype, and going into it, you're like, dude, he was clearly declining his last year in Green Bay, where they couldn't even get into the playoffs that last year. He had a winner go home game against, was it the Vikings, the Lions? And they lost, couldn't get in. He was clearly declining. I get it. He came off of back-to-back MVP seasons, but this last year, he was on the decline. I don't know what the Jets thought, that he was going to magically at his age become great again. And then they doubled down the hype. He's ready to go. His Achilles, he could have played the last couple games of the season if he would have, if it was meaningful. This guy's he's a machine. Came out and did exactly what every rational sports person thought he was going to be. He played like a 41-year-old injured quarterback coming off of an Achilles tear. I mean, you've seen an Achilles tear. You've seen 20 and 30-year-olds in their prime that don't come back right from an Achilles tear. What did you think a 41-year-old quarterback was going to do coming off of an Achilles tear? Did you think he was going to light the league up? I mean, come on.
It's so crazy that anyone thought that. But then again, look at same argument. Everybody thought we were going to go or we would be the bottom end of our division. So because everybody thought it was a little of our roster, and McDermott did that. So like, it's just crazy. There's like things you kind of feel and things you don't. I would say, who knows if you're right, but I'll tell you what. Betting on a guy, like you said, with an Achilles coming off an okay year with Green Bay, and especially the way he left too. Like big diva stuff where like you didn't have that with Brady, right?
No.
He just left at the time he was supposed to leave. Boom, boom. Obviously they weren't having the best of years, but he didn't leave as like, I hate you. This was the problem. You're the problem. You don't do what I want. The organization sucks. Look what you get. They literally brought over every player he wanted, and he didn't know any better.
But not only that, with Brady, when he left too, he didn't wait around and say, "Oh, I might retire. I'm going to do this." He came out. He was like, "Yeah, I'm ready to roll, Tampa. Let's go. Like, let's get it."
I mean, even Derek Carr did it. He just came retired because his shoulder's injury so bad.
Yeah, I mean,
do something like that. Stop making everybody wait. But I think he likes the limelight, bro. He likes everybody talking about him. He likes this, getting people. Any airtime for him was it any publicity is good publicity? That's what he's
no such thing as bad press.
That's right. He's all
absolutely. About it. Now that's another thing. Like, did you find, when you were done? Like when you were done, because you were a big football player. Played over at Orchard Park, right? Orchard Park High School.
First state championship.
Played college?
Yes, sir. Down at Teal College, and then at Brockport I finished out. I only played till my sophomore year, junior year almost.
Okay, and I was gonna say, now when you knew you were done,
for a flexor tendon that kind of stunk, so my pinky doesn't bend correctly. That's fine. So like you should be able to flex it. I can't do all that. Jersey finger, it's kind of the lamest injury to go out on. But then after that too, they wanted me to gain like 40 pounds so I could play defensive end in a 3-4 defense. So it's kind of like a hang up the cleats moment. Was it worth it? Risk reward.
What was your natural position?
Defensive end. Okay. But in a 4-3 scheme, I'm more of the speed rush edge side.
Was it a tough decision to hang the cleats up? Was it just like, I don't want to do it?
It's just interesting because like I took a sports psych class in college, and you relate so much of yourself to like the sport you play. So like for example, I would introduce myself. Oh, hey, I'm Nate. I play football. Boom, boom, boom. And then the weird part is when you hung them up and you go to dress yourself, like, oh, hey, I'm Nate. Well, no, you don't play football anymore. You know what I mean?
I'm just Nate.
Yeah. And you're still the same person, obviously, but like the whole treatment you get or the way people reacted when they heard that, you kind of either took, playing it or you had fun with it. It's really interesting, like the whole sports psyche of an athlete. So like it definitely weighed on me. Like what would come after? Like who was the person that played all those sports? Is there anything else for you to do? And of course there is. You have different hobbies. But when that's, breakfast, lunch, dinner, more sport, you didn't even study sometimes because all you're doing was working out, or you would stay to watch film with a coach. That's kind of where I excelled. It was the film, the study aspect of it, not being like the biggest man in the world.
Yeah.
So there's a lot.
And I mean,
importance.
How old were you when you started?
Oh God, third grade.
So
fourth grade,
that's like 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, somewhere around there.
So 8 till 21 years old. 22.
Yeah. I mean, that's nuts. That's like you said, that's 13, 14 years of your life. That's a huge part of your life. I mean, you've been playing more football than not at that point in your life.
Well, it's interesting because like back nowadays, it's not as uncommon. Kids playing for like their middle school team and then also playing a little league team. Well, back even when I was younger, that was kind of like a thing you really didn't do. And like No one really questioned it. They didn't think about how much you were running around and all that stuff. So I got away with a lot of different football, which is great because more sport you play, the better you get, right?
100%.
So it's kind of funny nowadays. It's kind of a common trend, or even like kids will take like sit out days because, like, well, they can't hit today. They have a game tomorrow or the same day as a practice, and like it totally makes sense, of course. But like I would have practiced that day and then went to the game and not thought anything of it. Now, is that the smartest thing? Absolutely not. But that's also what the time was, and it was as a kid back then. All you wanted to do was play. Like there wasn't like social media stars. You literally wanted to be on there on Sundays,
Yeah.
in Orchard Park, do.
And there was no load management back in the day. There was no,
What a concept.
oh, we're saving him for the playoffs. We're saving him for this. We're saving him for this. The only decision the coach made on the lineup, he would look at you. Hey, can you play? All right, get in there. Like that's it. There was no, and even as an athlete, you weren't thinking longevity. You weren't thinking, well, I might get hurt, I might miss this. Or you were a kid. You're just thinking, I love the game. I want to go out. I want to play as much as I possibly can. Offense, defense, special teams, whatever. Coach, don't take me off the field for 60 minutes. Like I want to be in.
But
And
then you
that's
had
all
to
you
listen
thought.
to everything they said. Like nowadays, sometimes kids will freelance, and then you'll say something to them, like, "Well, da 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 da." It's like, no, bro. Like you have to like follow the letter to the T because if you don't, the scheme doesn't really work. And sometimes athletes won't see that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I just want to go get the guy with the ball. It's like that's great, but if you're not schemed to do it, and they fake, and they go to your guy, and you're not there, well, now I'm the loser and I lost the game as the coach. I can't yell at you because then you get upset. Well, but you didn't listen to what I said.
Well, yeah.
Right? It's that funny little but that's sports, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Now for you, what's you've obviously won as a player, like you said, state champions for Orchard Park, won in Little Loop, won played college. You've coached now at variety of different levels. What do you find more rewarding, winning as a coach or winning as a player? Like what did you like if you could go back, like coach in a
I,
national championship and win it, or as a player, like
I
what
think
was more rewarding for you?
I probably as a coach, just because when I do defense, if I get 11 guys going at once and like the whole thing works, or you get a donut, like bro, there's so much juice in that because not only is you're correct in your knowledge, but then the kids see that, so they respond to you better, and also they have a confidence in themselves as well because look at the attitude you play with. Look at having a deeper voice too. It's not that I'm yelling, I'm talking, right? And sometimes it gets misconstrued as like, aggressive talk. Like, no, bro, like just the way it sounds and what it is too. Like the game is almost that simple to me.
Oh yeah. I
But no,
mean
I
it.
think honestly as a coach, it was the best, dude. Winning as a coach. Now again, winning state was wild, but when you're a coach and you're making everybody go all as one is pretty wild.
I agree. As a coach, it's better, and I've got my championship ball up there. I think you can see
Thank
it or
you.
whatever. Sectional champions last year, Wheatfield girls. A little shout out there, and it was. I'd never had so much fun coaching than I did that season, and it wasn't. It also was a ton of pressure though. Like it was more so like you knew as a coach, you knew the roster you had. I knew the talent that I had on my team, and I knew that. And I told the girls, I was like, "Listen, every win is on you, every loss is on me." And that's what I tell my kids. But like, if when you have that kind of a talent on there, you want them to play freely, but B, and this was just my mentality, right or wrong. If we lost, and I think we lost 2 games, 3 games that year, but when we lost, I was that type of coach where I'll look like I put them in the wrong spot. I
Oh
put them
yeah.
in the wrong formation. I didn't account for whatever player on the other team in their formation. It became like a chess match, but it was so much fun. As a player, it's great. I never had, let's put it this way. 4 years of varsity soccer for Niagara Falls, we won
Great
zero
stat.
games. We goose egged every single year. We were not good. I did all my winning in soccer during the travel leagues, indoor leagues, and we won some big tournaments during travel. But as a
Different from
player,
the school, right?
when you win a big game, you're out there with your teammates, but it's just like, all right, I did my role. And like you said, as a coach, you're trying to get all of your team. You're trying to get all your defense. I'm trying to get all 11 players to play as one. And if you can do that as a coach, it's just the coolest thing to
Magic.
watch. It's the coolest thing to watch. Oh, yeah. And it's funny, like my wife and I, we love watching that movie, and she'll look at sometimes when when Brooks is doing the whole like hate me, I'm the bad guy, common enemy type of deal. She'll kind of look, she'll be like, "Have you done that before?" I'm like, "Oh yeah," like not a lot, but oh yeah. I
It's
mean,
textbook.
you've got to. I'd like to think, and some of my athletes, who knows, they might think that it's a little different, but I like to think that I'm a player's coach. I like to think, I give my players a lot of leeway. I let them take responsibility for their team. But any athletes that's played for me, they know that, listen, when it's time to play, you better play, or there's going to be consequences. And I've told this, I don't care if you win 100, if we win 100-0 or lose 100-0. It's inconsequential if the effort isn't there. If the effort's there and we lose 100-0, that's fine. If you can walk off that field and I know that you gave me your absolute best, I'm going to be, well, maybe happy's not the word. I mean, you lost 100-0, but I'm going to be satisfied. I'm not going to be
Here's a
angry.
good comparison. I saw a clip of a kid in high school. He was playing against Zion Williams, right? What are you going to do against Zion Williams? Nothing. You're along for the ride. There's literally like nothing you can do. Like unless you're the same caliber of player. So like we just scream at the kid, tell him to like, oh, bend his knees. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing you can do against someone of that caliber of player.
Yeah. Coach, I if I grow maybe a foot, I can take him, or like maybe reach up to his shoulder. Like, yeah, there's sometimes you go in the
Jump
games, you go in
higher,
the teams. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That'd be like me. Yeah. Monahan, go out and cover him. Cover the 7'1" guy. And you're, 5'6" on a good day.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Give
No,
me a
dude,
ladder. Give me a ladder and maybe I can cover him.
they're like, yeah, no, you got to do your technique, and like technique totally helps. It 100% helps. But like
100%.
physical God gift ability is like the other thing that like they just don't talk about in practice because then some people aren't going to try as hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
Wild.
it is what it is. But all right, we're gonna wrap things up pretty quickly. But before we do, I want your predictions on. Let's see, how do we want to do this? All right, division winners. We'll just do just the AFC this time. Division winners, and who's going to the Super Bowl for the AFC. So who do you got coming out? Who do you got coming out? We'll start with the West first. Who you got coming out of the West?
West, we're going to go with the Chiefs just because I'm a closeted number 2 Chiefs fan, so love the Chiefs. Everyone in Buffalo is going to hate it, but if it's not Buffalo, it's Kansas City, and it's because I grew up watching Trent Green when I broke my leg in 8th grade previous, like we talked about earlier. True story.
You know what? I'm going to go with, just to mix things up a little bit, I'm going to say Denver. I like the way Denver finished the season. I like Bo Nix. I hate to say it, the Chiefs are probably going to win, but if there's anybody I think in that division that could take them down, I'm going to say Denver. So I'll say Denver. Let's go to the dominant AFC South. Who do you got winning the South?
The South is like Houston,
Indy. Yeah, Houston, Indy, Jacksonville, and Tennessee.
Let's give it to Houston.
I agree. They've got the quarterback.
That's the worst.
They've got the quarterback, and I mean, maybe Indy steals a game from them, but I don't see that division is so weak.
Irsay, maybe they play for him, but I don't like the quarterback.
No, I don't. Houston's just the most complete team. I think they run away with that division pretty easily. All right, AFC North. So we got Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Baltimore, and Cleveland. Baltimore?
Actually, you know what? Let's go with the Browns. I'm going to say the Browns shake it up.
Ooh.
I think Baltimore will probably win, but I would like the Browns to win.
Dude, that's not a shakeup. That's an earthquake. You think the Browns are going to win the division?
I'm going to say it just because I think their defense is sick, and whoever wins the quarterback is going to put on a show.
I'll tell you, if defense if defense wins championships, then Cleveland will have to have every bit of their amazing defense.
They got a shot, dude. Absolutely.
I'll go with the Ravens. I almost want to go with the Bengals. But I'll go with the Ravens.
You want to go Bengals?
I'm going to go Ravens. I think the Bengals are going to keep it close, but their defense is just horrible. I think the Ravens, again, are our most complete team. And do we even have to say in the AFC East who's going to win?
Bills,
I mean, come on. The Bills. Dude, in fact, I'll give you how I think the AFC is going to fall. I think it's going to be obviously Buffalo number 1. I think New England's going to surprise people. I think it's going to be a combination of New England's better, but the other two teams are terrible. I think New England will finish number 2.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what? I'll go with the Jets, number 3, and Miami, number 4, just because screw Miami. I hate Miami. All right, last question. Who do you have in the AFC Championship game, and who do you have winning?
I got the Chiefs. No, not the Chiefs, actually. I want the Bills versus Browns, and I think the Bills will win.
Listen, I would love to see a Bills Browns AFC Championship game because the Bills are going to destroy them. I think it's going to. I'm going to go a rematch, but this time in the AFC Championship game, I'm going to say Bills Ravens in Buffalo. In Buffalo. Buffalo takes care of them. This time, we're not going to have to rely on a Mark Andrews drop. We're just going to beat them clean. We go to the Super Bowl, and at that point, I don't care who we play in the Super Bowl. We could play the '90s Giants again for all I care.
If we get there, it's ours. But just got to get there.
Absolutely, just got to get there. All right, we're going to wrap things up there. Nate, first ever guest on Coach Larry's podcast. I feel like we only just scratched the surface. We definitely got to have you come back on again. Let me know. We'll take it from there, but make sure you guys tune in this week and every week for more episodes from Coach Larry's podcast. Go Bills.
Hell yeah.